Holmes. I am a junior at Columbia College in Alabama studying business management. I was so excited when I saw that one of the topics for this scholarship opportunity was to talk about how having an attitude of gratitude has positively impacted my life. I was so excited to talk about this because practicing a life of gratitude has completely changed my perspective on my life, has completely changed the lens in which I see the world through, and as a result has just made me a much more content, much more joyful person. So while practicing a life of gratitude, one of the things that I've learned is that gratitude in and of itself does not come natural to us. What I believe comes much more easily to us is jealousy, is negativity. So for instance, it's much more easy for us to focus on what's wrong in our lives rather than what's right. It's much more easy for us to focus on what we don't have rather than what we do have. So I'm sure that most of us have experienced this, and as a result, most of us can relate to how dissatisfied, how discontent that negativity, that jealousy, that ingratitude can make us feel. Now the best way, at least that I have found, to turn that dissatisfaction, to turn that discontent into content, peace, joy, is to practice a life of gratitude. So while I was looking to start practicing a life of gratitude, one of the first things I did was I just started making a list. I just started writing down the things that I was thankful for. And what I found is that that list actually kept growing because I realized there's so many things in my life that I'm just so used to having. And this is true in everyone's life. So for instance, in regards to our health, I'm sure most of us are used to having basic aspects. Most of us are used to having vision, hearing, the ability to communicate, walk, breathe. But I just thought, if I were just to wake up tomorrow and I couldn't even do one of those basic things, if tomorrow I woke up and I couldn't walk, for instance, for a second, I just thought about how much that would dramatically transform the way I lived my life. And so the list kept growing because I realized there's so many things like that in our lives. There's so many things that we're just used to having. So those things don't actually get appreciated, but I realized that those things are actually blessings that deserve our gratitude. So what that list does is it puts our focus on those things. It puts our focus on how much we already have. So that's where that discontent gets turned into content. That's where that negativity gets turned into positivity, because we realize how blessed we already are. And what I found by making that list, by focusing on what I already had, is that actually started to affect my thought practice. So for instance, when I would start to complain about something, because that's an obvious sign of ingratitude, right, is complaining. When I would start to complain about something, for instance my job, which I'm sure that most of us have complained about at some point in our lives, gratitude would actually plague my mind when I would start to complain. And I would just remember that I should be thankful to even have a job. And so gratitude would wash over me, and I would realize, wow, I should be so thankful because I have the ability to put a roof over my head. I can save money. I have great co-workers. It may not be the job I want ultimately, but it's a blessing in and of itself to even have. And so that's what focusing on what we already have does. It changes our perspective on our life. It changes the lens in which we see the world through, and it makes us such more joyful and content people. So I'll end on this. There's actually a great quote that speaks on this power of gratitude by self-help author Melody Beattie. She writes, "Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity." So thank you for this scholarship opportunity, and I am thankful.